Sewing is the skill of joining or attaching things together by using stitches created with a needle and thread. Back in the day, before folks were spinning or weaving fabrics, individuals believed that during the Stone Age, people in Asia and Europe would sew animal fur and skin together to make clothes. They did this using bone or ivory needles. The thread was made from different parts of animals like sinew and veins. Sewing was also done by hand until the 19th century when sewing machines were brought to the scene. Nowadays, hand sewing is still practiced all over the world and is linked to high-level quality tailoring, fancy fashion, and custom dressmaking. Yeah, the roots of sewing run deep. It's been an essential skill in cultures and societies for a hot minute, like millions of years. Back in the day, our ancestors used sewing to stitch up animal hides to make clothes, keep themselves warm, and build shelters. When talking about Inuits, they were all about using sinew from caribou to sew together their gear and stuff. And then you got folks from the American plains and Canadian prairies. Man, they have some next level sewing techniques to put together those TP shelters. It's like they were engineers of the sewing game, making it happen for real. Now let's take a trip to the motherland, Africa. Over there, they took sewing to another level by mixing it up with weaving using plant leaves. And you know those baskets are dope. That's a hell of a skill right there. But we ain't done yet. Also moving on up, not to the east side, but to the northeast from Africa, where cloth weaving from natural fabrics got its start around 4000 BC. Sewing went hand in hand. It was like peanut butter and jelly, inseparable and necessary for the whole cloth making process. This was all going down during the New Stone Age, way back in the day. Now in the Middle Ages, when Europe was popping, the big ballers had seamstresses and tailors hopping. Sewing was the game mainly for the ladies to shine, keeping threads on point, making them garments fine. Clothing was mad expensive, yo, that's no lie. So women played a crucial role, no need to deny. Their job was to make them clothes last real long. Men didn't reuse them like quilts, they were strong. Making clothes from scratch, yo, it was a grind. Weaving, cutting, altering, that hustle took time. These women, they traded skills, bargaining with each other, sharing their expertise, hustling like no other. Embroidery was the bomb, a skill highly prized. From the Middle Ages to the 17th century, it mesmerized. Needles, pins, and pin cushions, and true soul, so fly. European brides rocking stitches, no need to ask why. From Ireland to China, Morocco to Western Asia, different cultures uniting in stitches, no hysteria. Decorative embroidery, style spreading worldwide, dope artistry connecting us, that's straight bona fide. Different cultures, but all sharing the same stitching styles. Wow, that's amazing. And when we speak of the Industrial Revolution, we just ain't talking about building smoke from the head. Nah, it goes deeper than that. It's the birth of a whole new era, where the hustle and grind of the textile game took center stage. See, at this time, folks used to do their stitching and sewing right at home. But as the revolution kicked in, everything shifted. Oh yeah. The revolution brought the rise of the mills, turning those living room tailors to straight up entrepreneurs. Thomas Saint, he laid down the blueprint, patenting that sewing machine in 1790. But that was just the beginning, man. By the early 1840s, new players stepped up, dropping their own sewing machines in the mix. And then boom, Ivy Singer got the bomb in the 1850s. Singer's machine was a game changer. It outpaced those old school seamstresses and tailors, taking the textile game to new heights. And here's the crazy part. You ready? You can even have one of those bad boys right in your own crib. Yup, sewing up a storm from the comfort of your own home. That's some next level flex right there. These weren't all smooth sailing. Those textile sweatshops, man, they were popping up in city centers like London. Picture this, a whole district filled with underpaid sewing machine operators running to their fingers blade. And who were holding it down? The women. Strong, resilient queens working on 14-hour marathons just to put food on the table. It wasn't easy for the ladies back then trying to make ends meet. But you know what? They made it work. Out of those hardships, a new wave emerged. A connection between tailors and top-tier thread. Savile Row, baby. This street became legendary. Tailor shops lined up like soldiers, creating threads fit for kings and queens. And even as we step into the 20th century, Savile's tailor businesses kept on thriving, letting us know that the legacy continues. So when you think of the Industrial Revolution, don't just think of machines and factories. Nah, it goes beyond that. A revolution that changed the game, sowing the seeds for a whole new era of style and hustle. Yo, in the 20th century, sewing machines started blowing up for the working class, making them more affordable and in demand. This led to a rise in the need for sewing patterns. Now enter my man, Ebenezer Butterick, a straight-up genius tailor and manufacturer. Old boy came through with the game-changing paper patterns that can be traced and used by regular folks at home. That right there caught fire real quick, and a bunch of other pattern companies started hustling too. You might remember back when women's magazines carried sewing patterns all the time, but that game slowed down quick. Everyone started rocking ready-made clothes. Cause of the 9-to-5 hustle, ain't nobody got time for sewing when you grinding for that paycheck. Nowadays, you can cop cheap ready-made gear from the stores or online without breaking the bank. So home sewing is mainly an underground movement for hobbyists in the Western world. So there you have it, the origins of sewing, all wrapped up in a tale filled with rich history and diverse cultures. It's a skill that's been passed down for generations, keeping us fly and stylish throughout the ages.
I'm just back street shopping. I don't take this risk at all. In let's say 2008, I was in a bad accident on 85 spinning around, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna drive 40, 50 miles an hour. I don't mind the bound. Career to pop, you know what I'm saying? So it all gonna depend on the size sewing machine you got.
It's just a regular sewing machine. It's a single M35.
Your regular sewing machine, they don't, the stitches in them, they get real close together, and that'll kind of tear up your material sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You want the stitches like farthest apart as they can go.
Usually one of them,
Man, they obviously
the table.
They bought 700. They bought 700 brand new. I got a spot.
Lord.
But that's cheap, depends on what you gonna make on it. Your first job gonna pay for it.
Man, that is nice.
Twice, 3, 4 times.
So cute, I had to keep him. I had to keep him. Say mama, say mama. Hey mama.
We couldn't find her owner, so you know what I'm saying. I was like, man, I don't want her to be hungry out here, and then you know what I'm saying. I just took her and started feeding her, man. She my buddy now. She my buddy now.
She my buddy now. Yeah, mama. She my buddy now.
Folds, you know what I'm saying. It kind of latches in like that. I'm gonna take it apart, get it all graphed out. Red. There's not gonna be no design on this part of the seat. It's just like a third row let down seat, like a see, that's what I was saying. You see the same thread, the view is big. You see the hole? You see the hole in it now? Make sure it's in there. And give it to the guy because you got a walking foot. You know what I'm saying? I just want to keep that on the edge. I ain't trying to guide the head. I ain't trying to push it through or nothing. Slow speed that you want. You want to punch up into all of that. Now you got a problem. You got this shit. That's what we do, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, sewing just ain't about making dope stuff for yourself and others. Dig this. Sewing and relaxing go hand in hand. There's a whole lot of reasons why you should hop into that sewing machine. Do you know what muscle is the real MVP of your body? It's your brain. Dude, when you sew, your mind gets activated in ways that even those fancy doctors have to recognize. It's all about sewing and getting your mind right. If you're dealing with chronic pain, sewing can actually ease that discomfort for real. And if you're struggling with mental health issues, sewing can be just the thing for you. It's an activity that might provide some relief, so you might want to give it a shot. No matter how old you are, sewing got a gang of benefits to offer. It's not just good for your health, but it also give your memory a boost. So if all those benefits of sewing don't convince you to get with the world, I don't know what will. When you get your sew on, it's a stress-free getaway. Cause when you focusing on that project, it grabs a hold of you. And like Mary J, you have no more drama. It's like meditating, reducing your anxiety and stress levels as you unwind and get lost in them stitches. Sewing brings happiness to your soul and boosts up the levels of dopamine in your brain. Dopamine is a chemical messenger going wild between your brain cells. When your dopamine levels are high, it's like a party happening in your body. Now check it out. If you want to keep your brain on point, you got to give it some exercise. And guess what? Sewing is the way to do it. Back in the day, doctors used to think that your brain stopped growing once you hit 20. But now we know better, thanks to those researchers. They say that getting crafty with sewing can actually improve your brain function as you get older. But hold up, it's just not about the brain game. Sewing also help you build up that self-confidence, you feel me? When you stitch up that skirt or shirt that you've been working on for hours, it makes you feel like a boss. Shoot, going through a project, following a pattern, and finishing it up gives you a major sense of accomplishment. And that feeling, it boosts your confidence and self-esteem, making it easier to handle whatever life throws at you. Those researchers from across the pond in the UK found even more benefits to sewing, man. It just ain't in the mind. Sewing also improves their social and emotional well-being. Oh, and get this, their self-esteem got a major boost too, thanks to the power of sewing. So the next time someone tells you sewing ain't important, you can school them with these facts. Sewing exercises your brain and builds up that self-confidence like nothing else. So get the stitch and level up, man. If you're an older cat, sewing is a dope way to keep your brain sharp and prevent dementia. Even if you're not in your golden years yet, sewing can train your mind to stay active. If you stay exercising your brain now, it'll be stronger when you get old and gray. Sewing just ain't good for your noggin, it also gets your creative juices flowing. When you're working on a sewing project, you got to use your creative thinking skills. And once you start solving problems with that creative mind, you're going to start using it in other aspects of your life, for real. Sewing does a hell of a job when it comes to fighting depression. Like when a person all sad and down, sewing can help lift them up. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, depression is the most common thing in the U.S., you heard? Now let me break it down for you. Here are the signs of major depression. The Home Sewing Association checked it out, and they found that sewing not only lowers your blood pressure, but it also decreases your heart rate by 11 beats. That's some healthy stuff right there. Sewing is all about relaxing, you feel me? It might just be the secret sauce to happiness. Like by engaging in creative activities like sewing, you be avoiding all that anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, and even dementia. Plus, it builds your confidence and unleashes your creativity. So there you have it. Sewing is a legit way to combat depression and improve your overall well-being. Get your craft on and sew your way to a better state of mind. Keep it real and take care of yourself, alright?